we live yet? There we go. Sorry, I didn't have a green light. We'll ask the city attorney for exhibits, and then we'll have staff make their comments. The applicants will make their presentation. Then we will hear witnesses in favor and witnesses opposed, and we'll bring it back up here for discussion on the record before I close the public hearing, and then we'll take a vote. We will hear all three items together, and then we will vote on them separately. That being said, the first item is the public hearing on the rezoning of Adams Dairy Landing second plat. And I call the public hearing to order, or open the public hearing. Mr. McDonald.
Mr. Chairman, the city has 8 exhibits for the rezoning. Number 1 is the staff report with attachments. Number 2 is the affidavit of publication in the Blue Springs Examiner. Number 3 is the application with attachments. Number 4 is the 185-foot notification map. Number 5 is a list of names and addresses of property owners within 185 feet of the site. Number 6 is a copy of the letter sent to those property owners. Number 7 is Title IV Land Use Section, Blue Springs Code of Ordinances. Number 8 is the 2003 Comprehensive Plan. Excuse me. For the public hearing on the amended PUD concept plan, city has 8 exhibits. Number 1 is the staff report. Number 2 is the affidavit of publication. Number 3 is the application with attachments. Number 4 is the 185-foot notification map. Number 5 is a list of names and addresses of property owners within 185 feet of the site. Number 6 is a copy of the letter sent to those people. Number 7 is Title IV Land Use Section, Blue Springs Code of Ordinances. Number 8 is the 2003 Comprehensive Plan. Those are all of the exhibits the city would offer into the record at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Allen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the Planning Commission. Again, before you this evening are several requests in terms of the actual public hearings, which will be combined into one here. There's the rezoning and then also the amended PUD concept plan. So I'll kind of combine the comments on the rezoning and PUD concept plan, and then also tie in with the final plat for lots 3A and 3B. So specifically, we're looking at Adams Dairy Landing Area 2. Area 2 is the area north of Coronado, east of Adams Dairy Parkway. So Arby's, Chipotle, Mattress Firm, those businesses currently located out there. So this is lot 3 of that, looking to be split into 2 separate lots, lots 3A and 3B. In terms of the rezoning, as noted, bottom of page 3 of 9, the staff report. Rezoning is required merely as a formality or technicality due to the restricted overlay designation tied to the PUD plan and originally approved list of uses. So what's being proposed, change of uses, and again, splitting the lot into 2, and that's what's necessitating the new or the amended PUD concept plan. And with that, because it's a restricted overlay zoning district, it does need to be rezoned as well. And again, simply a technicality. And if you have any questions about the square footages and things like that of the uses, I believe the applicant can address those. But staff did provide that in the background information summary at the beginning. Again, this was originally approved almost 6 years ago, if you can believe that, 2007, for the overall Adams Dairy Landing PUD concept plan. Area 2 is about 6 2/3 acres. The concept plan calls for, as it currently stands, 3 restaurants. Again, presumably something other than just fast food or drive-through, plus 2 fast food restaurants and a car care facility, totaling just over 34,600 square feet of floor area. So again, looking to split the lot into 2, as I noted, and have the proposed change from restaurant to retail, as well as a mix of office, which is their first use that they're moving forward with the pending PUD final plan and site plan design review, which will be before you at the next Planning Commission meeting. With that, staff did walk through, hopefully, excuse me, pretty clearly, I hope, and succinctly in terms of the different issues, bolding those items that are of particular interest in terms of parking, for example. Again, parking is a bit speculative for that Lot 3B to the east. Pull up the map here. Oops. So Lot 3A already has a defined user looking to come in, an office use primarily. And then Lot 3B right now is, excuse me, a bit undefined at this point. So there's quite a bit of parking there, and staff was recommending that the applicant look at reducing some of the parking, possibly increasing some of the landscaping in that area. They can speak to this, but you'll also see at the PUD final plan, site plan design review stage, the next plan commission meeting, that the applicant has looked at some improvements or increases to the landscaping with that application. So they are already responding to these preliminary conditions and staff recommendations are before you this evening. So with that, again, nothing else is changing beyond splitting this lot into two buildings in terms of some office and retail rather than strictly restaurant use, and then obviously making some modifications to the parking and the landscaping, and they're already looking at responding to that with their upcoming application. With that, so that addresses the rezoning and the PUD concept plan. The final plat is a separate staff report. Go over that just real briefly again. Already mentioned the splitting of the lot, two separate lots. Stormwater, easements, things of that sort have already been addressed. Sidewalk has already been installed if you've been out there, so that's not an issue at this point. And simply looking at, with their conditions, looking at ensuring, for example, condition number 3 with the final plat, that the traffic signals are modified to include the pedestrian crossing signals with that. So, because that is the main lighted intersection there at Coronado and that Adams-Dairy Drive, or Adams-Dairy Landing Drive. So again, that they'll be looking at doing some improvements for pedestrian access and crossing as a result of this development. So you'll see some more details, like I mentioned, in terms of landscaping, lighting, things of that sort, building design and such with the next application review with the next planning commission meeting. So with that, I'll certainly stand for any questions.
Are there any questions for staff on these issues? I guess not.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Allen.
Thank you.
Would the applicant like to come forward and make their presentations, please? And you will need to be sworn in for the public hearings.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the Commission. My name is John Erpelding. I'm a landscape architect with Luchin Inc. With me tonight is Jeff McMahon with Red Development. Red currently owns Lot 3A. And also with me is David Perlman here on behalf of Pacific Dental. Pacific Dental is going to be the tenant for the Lot 3A building, and they're going to buy the property from Red Development. We agree with staff's conditions and recommendations. As Scott mentioned, we'll be coming back here again in a couple weeks to go over details of the final plan showing building elevations, materials, colors, landscape design. We feel that we have addressed, or we're in the process of addressing the additional landscape requirements along Coronado that has been asked for. Other than that, I guess we're just here to answer any other questions that you have. Thank you.
Are there any questions for the applicant? Well, I have a question that I think is going to be something that's going to come up here as this goes out to the public and everything else. I know we've really been looking forward to the restaurants that were originally planned to go on here. Can you give me an update on the status of us getting some more restaurants over there, or as opposed to why we're switching this to office? Not that I'm necessarily against the office space, but I know we were looking forward to the other.
This sounds like it might be a question for Jeff.
Do you solemnly swear testimony about the Jim Cross on here to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Jeff McMahon, 4717 Central, from Red Development. To answer your question, Mr. Chairman, we are talking to several restaurants. I think it's our goal as well to get as many restaurants out there as we can. This is a good opportunity. In Pac Dental, actually, we're doing several deals with them throughout the country. They're a great tenant, and this is a great location for them. Our first goal is to get restaurants to go into the smaller shop buildings. I think that's what we really want to see first, and we do have some of those coming on board here soon. I can't make those formal announcements today.
In the lifestyle area?
In the lifestyle area, correct. But, yeah, this is one pad. We continue to talk with restaurants for the rest of the area. Of course, we brought, the Olive Gardens, Chick-fil-A's, some of the other restaurants that are out there. So we don't feel like we've not fulfilled that niche, but certainly this is a great tenant, and we're excited to have them there.
We know how busy some of those places are right now, and we like to have some more.
Right, no, and I agree, and that kind of goes to the parking comment. We agree, going to a lesser use, intensity use, like a Pac Dental, which is more of an office use, it's less of a parking requirement, but conversely, we want a little bit of the flexibility as well, because when you do get that restaurant, there's some big ones out there, not necessarily big in size, but big in use, big in activity, that we want to make sure we keep enough flexibility that when we get those guys, that we're not underparked. And so we just are asking for a little bit of flexibility. We certainly agree with the comments, and we can work with staff on getting some additional landscaping because this use is less dense, but we also want to be prepared for those restaurants as well.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak in favor of either of these two proposals, the rezoning or the PUD concept plan? Or anyone who'd like to speak against it? Seeing none, I'll bring it back up here for comments on the record. And again, seeing none, I will close the public hearings. And the first item we need to address is the rezoning. And I would stand for comments and/or motions.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Trozen.
I'd like to make a motion to recommend approval of the rezoning RZ-6-13-3992. I think that's separate. That's on the next one. It's the 4 conditions.
Are the 4 conditions attached to both, or just to the?
The 4 conditions are primarily attached to the PUD concept plan. Rezonings typically do not have conditions. It's a restricted overlay, so you can place conditions on it. Your choice.
Thank you. I have a motion
Second.
and a second. Can we have a roll call vote?
Commissioner Abbott?
Aye.
Commissioner Wallace? Commissioner Sanders?
Aye.
Commissioner Haney?
Aye.
Commissioner Bartolotta?
Aye.
Commissioner Juhan? Commissioner Banks?
Aye.
Commissioner Trozen?
Aye.
Chairman Phillips?
Aye. That motion passes unanimously. And we move on to the PUD's concept plan.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Trozen.
I'd like to make a motion that we recommend approval of the amended plan unit development concept plan PUD C-6-13-3995, subject to the 4 conditions listed in the staff report.
I have a motion. And a second, 2 seconds. And could I have a roll call vote on that, please?
Commissioner Wallace?
Aye.
Commissioner Sanders?
Aye.
Commissioner Haney?
Aye.
Commissioner Bartolotta?
Aye.
Commissioner Juhan? Commissioner Banks?
Aye.
Commissioner Trozen?
Aye.
Commissioner Abbott?
Aye.
Chairman Phillips?
Aye. That motion also passes unanimously. We now move to the amended final plat.
Mr. Chairman, since I'm on a roll.
You're on a roll.
I recommend that we approve the final plat PF-6-13-3993, subject to the 3 conditions that are listed in the staff report.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? And that motion also carries. Yes, it's been brought to my attention that I was in such a hurry to get to the public hearings that I overlooked the consent agenda. I would like to go back and revisit that. Could we have a motion for the approval of that?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of item 1 of June 10th.
Thank you. Second. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes have been approved. Sorry about that. And we move on to other business. Mr. Allen, is there anything you'd like to let us in on?
Certainly, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next meeting is Monday, July 22nd, 2 weeks from tonight, and as we've already mentioned a couple times, there will be the joint PUD final plan, site plan design review application from the folks here in the audience for this Lot 3A. So that will be before you. We have a number of other proposals coming before you. First Baptist Church is looking to move ahead with their initial approvals down in South 7, kind of the neighborhood improvement district, the sewer NID down in Chapman Farms area. So they're looking to move forward with their initial plans, as well as a project called Brookwood Townhomes, which are duplexes, fourplexes on the vacant property at Sunnyside and R.D. Mize, kind of across from Walmart, kind of their southwest corner there. That's been vacant for quite a while, and we've seen a couple of proposals come through and not be finished. So they're moving forward, essentially expanding that residential subdivision, multifamily, to the south that's already existing. So kind of taking that into account, putting in the clubhouse, pool, things like that. So adding some amenities for that subdivision. So that's what's tentatively planned for the next agenda. So full agenda. Apologize, I will not be here. I will be traveling on summer vacation, but that's how Mr. Holland and I work it out. He's not here tonight. I won't be here next time, but we'll kind of sharing the burden here, so to speak. Sharing the joy, of these meetings and all the work involved, is what I meant to say. And also with that, at 5 o'clock, we may bump that up a little bit earlier, depending on how much we get out of the consultants for the comprehensive plan. But we'll have the steering committee meeting before the next meeting of the Planning Commission on the 22nd. They're working on some draft, call them sub-area or specific plans for kind of that neighborhood concept we had talked about, looking at kind of the development opportunities and taking a sample neighborhood and kind of going through the detailed review of that and kind of bringing that back to you for some dialogue and discussion in terms of, is this kind of where we're headed with these different areas, planning ahead for the rest of the comprehensive plan, kind of get some feedback and go from there. So hopefully we'll have something even yet this week. We start kind of, metering that out to everybody, not just dump on you the Friday before type of thing. So we'll try to get some information out hopefully yet this week.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to discuss or bring up while we're here at other business? I would like to remind everybody here, everybody who's watching, we've got several things going on. We've got the public art downtown through the end of September. Come down and see what's going on downtown, not just the art, but see what's going on downtown. There is a car cruise on Friday evening. I believe that's the second Friday of every month until the fall. Farmers market every Saturday morning. Get away from downtown for a minute. There's music in the park at Rotary Park every Sunday evening from 6 to 8. And July 26th, which is the Friday evening, is the second and final Street Flicks. So bring the kids downtown and have a good time there. Anything else? If not, I would take a motion for adjournment.
So move.
Motion?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Looks like the rain.